If you've played Ranked Rocket League, you may have seen these titles at some point. They aren't blue and they aren't RLCS titles. The CRL titles are for players that have competed in official Collegiate Rocket League. But wouldn't this just be a really easy title to get just by going to school and playing in Rocket League tournaments exclusive to students only? How good even is College Rocket League anyways? Let's go back to the summer of 2017, where there was a newly funded league announced exclusive to players attending college full-time in North America, the CRL Summer Series. A small organization called the College Carball Association were hosting lots of weekly tournaments during this time for college players only. When the fall came around, Psyonix themselves announced the first school season of CRL in partnership with TESPA, with a brand new format and prize pool. The league was split into 4 different conferences based off of the school's location. There was a Northern, Eastern, Southern, and Western Conference league play for each region. The league gave a chance to play in the CRL finals if you managed to place top 2 in your conference, where we saw our first serious prize pool for a college-only tournament for $50,000 in scholarships. This also gave the first chance for many players to compete on the official Rocket League stream with all eyes on them. Okay, so how good really were these players getting to compete for $50,000? Each of the CRL conferences had their own power rankings for the 10 teams predicted to do the best in the fall league play, based off the summer series. Let's take a look at those rankings. Sure, we can see that the top teams in each conference mostly featured grand champions. Even the number 1 team in the North had a champion 1 player, which sounds about right for a newly founded college league. But as we go down the power rankings, they plummet really fast. A full diamond team and a platinum player had starting spots on teams that made it into the league play. Considering how much money was up for grabs for a player of this caliber was insane, since much better players that were trying to qualify for the major events like RLCS but couldn't, wouldn't see a payout even close to that. Hence where the saying Champ 3 League comes from. When the league play was finally over and the first season of CRL championships came around, the top 8 teams played in the finals, where Northeastern University ultimately took it in the grand finals after losing to Ohio State in the upper finals, then winning 2 Game 7s in a row, bracket resetting Ohio and becoming the first ever CRL champions.
And they'll be crowned our champions. Final kickoff of the first season of CRL. Mercurial taps it down, and that is it.
When we look at this team, we see that they consisted of all grand champion players, showing that the top team in the first season of CRL was actually pretty solid. But when we start looking at the lower end of the CRL teams, this is where we really wonder, should it really be considered a Champ 3 league? A few seasons of CRL roll by with a steadily increase in player ranks and overall skill, as well as prizing and even a LAN event for the final championships.
Fire the King is right. And you gotta say it. There's the cloak, there's the crown.
Oh man, they anointed him on stage. What is this?
The coronation.
Oh my goodness.
King's back, baby.
Fast forward to 2019 of College Rocket League, where we see a handful of schools offering full ride scholarships, having gaming facilities or arenas for players to practice on, and backing them with gear and jerseys just like any of the school's traditional varsity sports teams. And all just for playing Rocket League. We even saw St. Clair College pick up Lucinio, a player who won the Season 1 RLCS World Championship just a couple years prior. So after just 2 years of the first season of College Rocket League, we have plenty of familiar faces from the actual professional scene of Rocket League esports. Now surely with a World Championship level player only 2 years after the first season of CRL, Lucinio would take St. Clair to go on and dominate these Champ 3 teams and win the World Championship this year, right? Actually, no. The CRL format in 2019 offered 16 open spots for each conference, where the best teams from each conference would get a chance to play at those championship finals I mentioned. So where did the Lucinio-led St. Clair finish out of those 16 league play teams? The answer is simple. Nowhere. They weren't even one of those top 16 teams that qualified for league play. A world champion who was playing with pretty high level players in CRL standards was not able to qualify to even get a chance to play at the championship finals. So who are these top teams with names we've never really heard of anyway? And what could all of these resources and opportunities mean for a college player? While we were focused on the previous world champion, Lucinio, there was a dominant team in CRL, the University of Akron, and man did they show results. Their roster consisted of Buzz, Reticence, and Salty Popsicle. Yeah, you heard that right. This team finished top 4 in 2018, then won the Spring 2019 championships at the live event in Minneapolis, Minnesota. For the fall of 2019, like some of the other schools, Akron did some real recruiting. They picked up this brand new unproven player by the name of Tristan. For the full league play of fall 2019, Akron did not lose. No, seriously, they didn't drop a single series, going 45-4 in total, only losing 4 individual games in league play. Now this unstoppable force had to have some kind of weakness. Maybe they'd choke when it comes to playing the championships live on stage with all those lights and eyes on them in Arlington, Texas. But no, they played the University of Arizona that won in CRL 2018 in the first round of the tournament, taking them out 3-1. Then going on to beat the University of North Texas 4-1 and finally playing them again in the grand finals, this time sweeping them 5-0. Professional teams must have really started to notice the college scene, or maybe it was just one particular player by the name of Tristan. We saw Tristan get a sub spot on the RLRS team Nefarious, who later got acquired by Warriors International, and while sitting on the bench subbing for a professional team, Tristan was still playing for his starting spot on Akron, where they continued the dominant force in the CRL spring season of 2020, winning the Eastern Conference Clash, League Play, and Spring Showdown. In the fall season of 2020, Tristan was given a real RLCS shot and brought onto a starting position for the RLCS team E United, replacing an RLCS World Championship player, Hoxer.
Tristan was the superstar. For those of you that don't watch CRL, you should.
But was this really showcasing the potential of CRL, or was this Tristan thing really just a one-off? Nowadays, the top level teams in CRL are extremely talented, especially compared to other years. Looking back at a #1 conference team in 2017 having a Champ 1 starting player, let's look at the top teams in the current age of CRL. We see the biggest contention in the national championships being Northwood, Akron, UNT, and LSU. Players from 3 of those 4 teams have played in the RLCS and RLRS. Even 2 teams have current players on starting rosters in the RLCS. And for the most recent CRL champions, Northwood University, which has a full starting roster of semi-pro players, even ended up replacing one of those players with yet another player in contention for RLCS events. Even as I'm making this video, Northwood just announced the pickup of RLCS player for Ghost Gaming, Lion Blaze. And a couple days after that, Reddles, who is a player for a top NA RLCS team, Space Station Gaming, is showing his interest in competing in the CRL. Talk about a real improvement to the league. So with CRL growing as much as it is, going from a $50,000 prize pool in the first year of CRL to $275,000 up for grabs in 2020 alone, and over $600,000 in total for CRL events, to even having schools offering full rides for players, it's no surprise we saw a player like Tristan end up going pro, and now seeing semi-pro level teams and other RLCS players compete for CRL prizes and achievements. The competition is evolving rapidly, and with college lands coming back in full swing when the world reopens, it's very likely to see it turn into a new outlet for upcoming players to prove themselves and break into the pro scene and compete for more than they ever could without actually being a professional.